Should we produce electricity from coal or renewable energy? Should the transportation services be more through railways or through airlines? Should we focus more on railways, roads, or airlines? Right? So, every country in this world, every country in this world, they face three kind of questions. Every nation face three kinds of questions. First, every nation, every economy faces three kinds of questions. First, what goods and services should be produced in the economy? What goods and services should be produced in the economy? For example, India as a country. So whether we should produce rice or we should produce pulses, right? Whether we should produce car or whether we should produce more bicycles or motorbikes. So what should we produce? This is the question which every country, every economy faces. The second question which every country faces is, so first question is, what should be produced? What should be produced? This is the question. What should be produced means what goods and services should be produced. The second question is how it should be produced. Should we produce electricity from coal or renewable energy? Should the transportation services be more through railways or through airlines? Should we focus more on railways, roads, or airlines? Right? So, should we produce goods through more of labor or more of machines? So, how these goods and services should be produced? This is the second question which every country faces. And the third question is, which every country faces, is for whom? For whom? So, what goods and services should be produced? How it should be produced? And for whom it should be produced? For whom it should be produced means whether we should produce for the poor people or we should try to produce for the upper class. That means if we are producing bicycle, that means we are targeting poor people. If we are producing automobiles, high-end automobiles, BMW, Mercedes, then that means we are targeting for the rich class. So, for whom the goods and services should be produced? Every economy faces these three questions. Now, if the answer to these questions, what should be produced, how it should be produced, and for whom it should be produced, if these three questions are decided by the government, that means if government is deciding that what should be produced, how it should be produced, and for whom it should be produced, then that economy is called socialist economy. Then that economy is called socialist economy or command economy. So, if the three questions, what should be produced, how it should be produced, and for whom it should be produced, if government is taking all the decisions, then we say that the economy is a socialist economy. And if these three questions, what should be produced, how it should be produced, and for whom it should be produced, if the market forces of demand and supply, if the market forces are deciding that what goods and services should be produced, how it should be produced, and for whom it should be produced, then that economy is called capitalist economy. That economy is called capitalist economy. So, these are two extreme ends, socialist economy, capitalist economy. Now, if you'll ask that, sir, India, it's a socialist or capitalist? Now, let me try to tell you that no country is 100% socialist or 100% capitalist as such. Because in every country, certain activities, certain things are decided by government, certain things are decided by private. But we try to discuss these things on a major level. For example, when we got independence, most of the things was controlled, decided by government. So when we got independence, we followed a socialist model of economic development. And if you know something about the 1991 crisis, post 1991, we started moving in this direction. So we are on this path. And almost every country has started following this. United States, it is following a capitalist path, but there also certain things are decided by government, certain production, there may be certain PSUs, there are some PSUs. That doesn't mean it's a socialist economy or 100% capitalist. So it is in between. But Western European countries, US, they are mostly on this side. Asian economies, they are mostly on this side. But if you see the pattern, almost every country is moving into this direction, from here to here. So the question is, why almost every country is moving in this direction? Even India is also moving this. You must be seeing the newspapers that government is trying to privatize PSU, disinvestment, a lot of things are going on. So earlier, a lot of economies, most of the economies were on this side. So now every economy is following this path. Why? The question is why. Can anyone tell me? Because the answer is because when we followed this model, where government was deciding that what should be produced, how it should be produced, and for whom it should be produced, when we followed this model, we were not able to utilize the resources efficiently. And when we were not able to utilize the various resources efficiently under this model, we were not able to produce more goods and services, and we were not able to become rich. That every country is experiencing, almost every country is experiencing. And let me tell you one thing. China, which has done a tremendous growth, they have increased their income. There are more private firms in China as compared to government. So don't think that China is a socialist kind of thing. They have more private. So in this model, when we followed this model, the resource utilization was not good. When I say resource utilization was not good, that means you take an example of a PSU. They are not utilizing their resources efficiently. The labor is not being utilized efficiently. A lot of times the machines are not being utilized efficiently. But if you will see a private firm, yes, there is. And you know that any country who is not using its resources efficiently, they will remain poor because they will not be able to produce those goods and services. So, with time, with experience, almost every country has learned that if we follow this model, then we can utilize our different resources efficiently and we can become rich. That is why almost every country is moving into this direction. It cannot be one day that we switch from socialist to capitalist. It doesn't work like that. Slowly and steadily, most of the decisions in the economy of what, how, and for whom is taken by the market forces of demand and supply. This starts. So that's why every economy is following this path, right? Now, a detailed discussion on India, that why we started moving from here to here post independence and what challenges we face, that we will be discussing later on. Just to introduce you this thing, I have told in this class, but there is a detailed discussion, 1 or 2 classes later on. So, two kinds of economy, socialist and capitalist.